Okay, so this is going to be your tutorial video on how to create a quiz in Canvas and how to access or add to a question bank. Question banks have been one of my favorite things to use in Canvas. I'm going to show you the classic way to do quizzes, and then we can get to the more advanced way that they have a new option for quizzes. But I'm just going to show you the basic quizzes for now. In your home page, wherever you are, you will want to scroll to quizzes. Now, what I normally like to do is I like to have a group of questions from a question bank pull into a certain part of a quiz. So I'm going to go ahead and just create the quiz shell first, and then I'm going to go into the question bank. So this way you'll know how to create the shell and then pull the questions in from the question bank. And then I'll show you how to preview it so you'll see what the student sees. So because I actually do have a little bit of a quiz or practice activity I'm going to set up for my students, you can use quiz here or quizzes to do assignments that you want them to do online or to actually do tests or quizzes. So this one is going to be an assignment that we do a good amount of times in our Spanish class. So you're just going to hit the big blue button here, and then this is where it's going to tell you you can choose a quiz engine. For right now, I've been using classic quizzes just because I haven't really had a whole lot of time to get in and play with this one just yet, but I will. So I go ahead and click classic quizzes, and then you submit. Once you submit, it takes you into the first page. So I'm going to call this, because this is what the assignment is, present subjunctive, and you can title it whatever you want to. All right, so once you have that, you can type your instructions to your students. I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste from a previous quiz. So what you can do here is I just copied and pasted from another assignment that's very similar, and I've got everything I need there. I let my students have additional attempts on this particular one. Obviously, for a quiz or test, you might not do these settings, but this is what we do for the Club de Cien. This is a conjugation practice that we do. So once you've got all that, if you want to link things, you can still do all of the same things that you did in setting up your home page and everything like that. You can just insert videos, you can insert whatever you want, you can change the size of something, you can make it bigger, smaller, what have you, you can make it bold, you can change the text color, change the background color. I usually don't bother with all of that, but for this one, I am going to make sure that my verbs are there, and then I'm going to come down to the stuff that I'll need to change for the students. So it asks for the quiz type. If you want it to count in the grade book, you'll want to do a graded quiz. If you don't want it to count, you can do it as a practice quiz. So I'm going to do this as a graded quiz because they will have a grade attached to the grade book to it. And the assignment group is going to be under evidence of learning, what I call evidence of learning, which is going to be like your formative assessments. I do want to give them a time limit. As I stated up here, I'm going to give them 10 minutes. We'll put 10 minutes. We will want to allow multiple attempts on this one, and you can either keep the highest, latest, or the average. I usually just keep the highest, and then the allowed attempts for the students is 3. For this one, I'll keep all of this unchecked, and I'll show you how to actually do a quiz in a little bit. So for this one, this is again just like a homework activity that they're doing. I will let them see their responses and let them see their correct answers. I do want to show one question at a time, because if I show one question at a time, they will see the instructions and they can still see their word bank, and then they can copy the letters that they need that have accents over them. I don't need to require an access code. I do this require an access code for a quiz so that students can't access it until I give them access, and they have to have the code. But for this, since this is something they've got multiple attempts on, I'm not going to bother. We're going to assign it to everyone. Now you can choose to assign to specific courses, but generally I'll just assign to all of my sections. I didn't mean to say courses, I meant sections. So I just have it assigned to everyone. And this one, if I remember correctly, I told them it would be due on the 1st of September. And as I said in that assignment video, I don't bother with this because if you bother with this, you're going to have to be unlocking and locking, and then you'll get confused and you'll forget. Sometimes it's just easier to require an access code if you're doing an actual quiz or test, so that way the student has to come to you for it. And what I will do is that page, and I am good there. And I need to add some questions, but because I want to do it from a question bank, all I'm going to do is save. I'm not going to publish this just yet. I'm going to save it. And you'll see when I save it, it's not published yet. It's unpublished. You will not be able to the students won't be able to see anything until you publish it. So let's talk about question banks. So we're going to go into quizzes. We're going to go back into quizzes. And then this 3-dot right here, you're going to hit Manage Question Banks. This is where it can either be really good or all over the place. And before we realized how we needed to manage our question banks, our questions were all over the place. So I try to do it by unit and be very specific so that I can pull from specific things. So all you have to do to add a question bank, you can adjust question banks here. So if you want to change this one, you can edit it, and then, you can click it, and it'll take it in, and then you can edit individual questions. You can add a question. The only problem with this is if you add questions, but you've already assigned a quiz that has already pulled questions from the bank before you edited it, the edit won't stick to the already existing quiz. So if you make a mistake or you make an error in your answer key, you will have to go in and manually give credit on that quiz. And I'll show you how to do that in a different video. So let's go back to question banks. I want to add an actual question bank. So you want to hit Add Question Bank, and you'll see it's got no name, and I'm going to call this U2 present subjunctive. And I'm going to hit Enter. When you hit Enter, you will see it. It has no questions, and you just simply click it, and then it takes you into the question bank itself. Here, you can add questions. And so we'll add a question. And you can do a multiple choice question or true false, fill in the blank, multiple blanks. That's a little more challenging. Multiple answers, drop downs, matching, numerical, essays. They can upload or they can type text without, you can type text without question. Don't worry about that because right now I'm going to have them type fill in the blank type thing. So you're going to pick fill in the blank, and then I will say I forgot what my verbs were. So I think one of them was dar. So my answer for that is going to be yeah. Now you'll notice down here you've got a bunch of different options, possible answers. Remember, this is a fill in the blank. So if it's fill in the blank, you only need one, unless you have multiple ones that they can do. But for this one, I only need one, so you'll delete, delete, and delete. Once you do that, and that's it, you can just hit Update Question. Now it will remember your question type and how many answers you had there, so you can just add another question. And then we'll do the to form. Make it easy. Or I actually would normally type you give, and they would know, or whatever you want to do. And then we would type the answer there, and then you'll update the question, and boom. Now, if you want to go back and edit a question, so if I want to go back and make that yo and then give, subjunctive, then I would say yo, and then I might say give, and then subjunctive, or whatever you want to do there. Once you update it, you will update, and that's it. I don't worry about point values in the question bank because I do that in the actual quiz. All right. So let's say you've got all that you want and you're ready to add questions to your quiz. So here we go. We're going to get quizzes. Then you're going to go back to your quiz shell. You may have to scroll to find it. You'll notice that it's still not published. And so you'll click it and then you'll edit. Once you edit, you can add questions. Now, you can either add questions on their own, not coming from a question bank, so you can do a variety. So I'm going to add a multiple choice question, and I'm going to type subjunctive or no. And I'm going to put it in here, and you'll see something in a minute. So for this one, I'm adding just a general multiple choice question that I wanted to add. And I've got my instructions here. You can bold those or whatever you want to do. And this is going to be multiple choice. And you'll see the top one is the correct answer. So I'm going to type the right one. Then I'm going to type the wrong one. And those are the only options I want, so I can delete that. And then I will update the question. And that's it. Now, if I wanted to add from a question bank, once I get whatever random questions I want, you can go new question group. You'll see group. And let's say I want to pick 10 questions from a bank and I want them to be worth 2 points each. Then you will link to a question bank and it will load your banks here. I'm going to do this one. We'll select bank. I'm going to actually go back and just pick one worth 10 points each. And then you can create group. And what that does is it'll pull a random question. This one is, I know, is matching, so it'll pull a random matching question in. And then what one student has, another student will have a different one. So we'll add some grammar here. We're going to pick 10, 2 points, link, and we will find some. We'll add some noun clauses. Select bank, create group, and that's it. Now, at the top, you'll see how many points it's worth. And you can add and adjust point values, and then you will just go back to your details, make sure everything's there, and then you can save. Now, once you save, you aren't ready to publish just yet. Let's say you're still adding and you're still adjusting. You can actually preview what a version of the quiz will look like. So we're going to hit preview. So we'll pretend like those are the right instructions, and then the students have the opportunity to do this, and they go next, and then they do all these answers. They drop down, they answer, and next. And once they're done, they submit it. If they forget a question, then it'll remind them and they'll get to go back. So, but this is just the preview. Your students can't see this. So once you're done with that, I'm just going to get out of that. We're going to keep editing the quiz. And then you can get in there and make changes and updates and whatever. And that is pretty much how you add a quiz in Canvas. Now again, if it's a quiz, then you won't want a time limit. You won't want to allow multiple attempts, and you won't want the students to see the responses because you'll want to make sure everybody's taken them before you release that to your students. So I guess that's it for this one. Hopefully this helps.